Thank you, madam. Thank you for your good words. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the JMJ management, correspondent Teresamma, and the organizer, this organizing committee. In particular, Dr. Vishranthamma, HOD of Political Science, and Vimala Devi and others, whoever there in the organizing team. I congratulate all of them, and I thank Dr. Vishranthamma for inviting me for this wonderful webinar and to share some of my views in this seminar. Thank you very much. I think for the last few days, you might have learned, the participants might have learned about the overall, get the overall understanding of the political institutions and democracy, Indian democracy. I hope I need not get into the details of the political organizations and this democracy. Today's my focus will be on the role of Parliament. Yeah, this is I will be discussing about the composition of the Parliament, importance of the Parliament, background of the Parliament, and other related aspects of the Parliament. Okay, to begin with. In the modern democratic governments, we have two forms of government. Before getting into the role of the Parliament directly, I would like to give you a brief note about the related important aspects of the Parliament and all. Okay, so in the modern democratic governments, we have two forms of governments. That is parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. These forms are on the basis of the nature of relations between the executive and the legislative organs of the government. What kind of relation they have in between is the concern here, the difference here between this parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. In parliamentary form of government, the executive is responsible and accountable to the legislature for its acts and its policies. And one more important aspect of parliamentary form of government is the executive is from legislature only. Okay. And another important aspect is we have two executives. One is nominal executive, another one is real executive. So in parliamentary form of government, the executive is not responsible to the legislature for its policies and acts. In fact, in a presidential form of government, executive is constitutionally independent of the legislature in respect of its term of office. So, today our focus is on the parliamentary form of government and its relation with the executive and how this legislature or parliament controls the government or legislature. And so because the Constitution of India provides for a parliamentary form of government both at the center and in the states. While discussing this about the center and states, we have another concept. Now we discussed about the forms of government. Could you please share the PPT? Is it possible? Otherwise also no problem.
Yes, sir.
PPT presentation.
Yes, sir. Wait a
There
minute.
we can see the bullet points of the today's this thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Slide number 1. Yeah. Slide number 2. Yeah, please. Slide number 2. Go to the second slide.
మురళి సెకండ్ స్లైడ్ అంట. సెకండ్ స్లైడ్ అడుగుతున్నారు.
Yeah, we have this after forms of the government, we have this separation of powers also important here. Why? Because there are three organs of the government. In these three organs, today we are concerned with the legislature, only legislature. That's why we need to know, we ought to know the different other organs of the government. What is the provision in the constitution? So, after forms of the government, we need to discuss about the separation of powers. The separation of powers refers to distribution of jurisdiction among the government organizations. You might all have known that it is a basic concept. The definition or meaning of the government is, what are the basic organs of the government? The legislature, executive, and judiciary. Every organ has its own sphere, has its own jurisdiction. So we have to confine. I would like to confine myself. Am I audible?
Okay,
Yes, sir, no problem.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
I think I am visible also.
Presentation visible. Okay, sir.
Pardon? Can you repeat it again?
Continue, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Okay. Yeah, every organ of the government has its own sphere or its own jurisdiction. My concern is today, I would like to confine myself to the sphere of or jurisdiction of the legislature, that is the parliament. Parliament is in legislature we have in India we have two levels of legislature. One is we have state legislature and central legislature. We can call parliament as this central legislature. Okay. So the Constitution of India provides for a parliamentary form of government, both at the center and the state levels. So separation of powers between legislature and executive and judiciary. The executive, what is executive? Executive is the organ that the primary duty of the legislature or the parliament is to make laws, enact laws. Okay. What is the executive? The executive is the organ that implements the laws enacted by the legislature and enforce the will of the state. This is the primary duty of the executive. It is the administrative head of the government. In it, there may be ministers, including prime minister, chief ministers, president, governor, forms the part of the executive. Okay, this is about executive. We need not go into the details of the executive because our concern is about the legislature. And what is the judiciary? The judiciary is the branch of the government that interprets the laws. Laws are made by the legislature, implemented by the executive, interpreted by the judiciary. The judiciary is that The judiciary is there to interpret the laws, settle the disputes, and administer justice to all the citizens. The judiciary is considered the watchdog of democracy and also the guardian of the constitution. We were talking about the democracy and its values and its principles. I hope that you got clear understanding from the last 3 days about the clear understanding of our democracy. So, it is the watchdog of the democracy, the judiciary. It comprises of the Supreme Court, High Courts, District Court, and subordinate courts. This is about briefly about the judiciary and executive. Coming to the main, our main today's topic, the chief function of the legislature is to enact laws. Without the enactment of laws, there won't be any. They don't have any job. This is executive or judiciary to do. So it is the basis for the legislature or we can say it as a parliament is the basis for the functioning of the other two organs, the executive and the judiciary. Until and unless laws are enacted, there can be no implementation. And who implements that? There is the executive. Unless until the laws are enacted, there will be no implementation. And application of laws. Judiciary cannot apply any laws until unless the laws are enacted. So, the legislature is the most important organ of the government. And another concept, as I told you, there are three related aspects I would like to give you. So that is, one is this forms of the government. There are presidential form and parliamentary form of government and separation of powers. This is all related to our today's topic because I would like to give you an introduction about this formation and background of this parliamentary system. So there are it is a part of the three organs of the government, but we discuss in detail about the only legislature. And another important aspect here is the division of powers. Yes, legislature, there is we are talking till now, we are talking about legislature, but what level? We are not specifically not talking about the parliament. Why? Because there is a legislature at central level and state level. The separation of as a scientist of political scientist, we must aware of we must have the idea of the difference between the separation of powers and the division of powers. Division of powers refers to the distribution of authority at the different levels of the governments. Different levels of the government. What is separation of powers? Separation of powers is the distribution of jurisdiction among the organs of the government. Whereas the division of powers refers to the distribution of authority at the different levels of the government. So, we have different levels of the governments. We have union government, we have state governments. So, there is a union legislature, there is a state legislature. Here, we opted, the Constitution of India provides a dual polity with clear division of powers between the union and the states. each being supreme within the sphere allotted to it. Allotted to the state, it is the supreme. In the sphere of the state, it is the supreme. And in the sphere of the center, union is the supreme. Thus, the Constitution contains elaborate provisions to regulate the various dimensions of the relations between the center and the states. As I mentioned before, now we are slowly coming to the today's focus point is the parliament. The legislative organ of the union is called the parliament. That is the parliament. In parliament, India has a parliamentary system of government. The union parliament is the supreme legislative body in the country. What is this parliament? Parliament is the supreme legislative body in the country. Yes, the Constitution provides legislative authorities between the union and the states in 3 lists. There are 3 lists. So why? Because we need to know about these 3 lists. There are regarding the legislation, there are 3 lists. One is union list and another one is state list and concurrent list. The union list consists of 99 items. The union parliament has exclusive authority to frame laws on subjects enumerated in the union list. These include foreign affairs, defense, armed forces, communication, posts and telegraphs, foreign trade, and so on. Again, we have state list. The list consists of 61 items on which are ordinarily in normal conditions, the states alone can make law. You need to register this word. The subjects on which ordinarily are in common general situation. The states alone can make laws on the states list. These include public order, police administration, prisons, local government, agriculture, and so on. Again, we have the third list, that is concurrent list. It has 52 items, including criminal and civil procedure, marriage and divorce, likewise, and so on. Both regarding the concurrent list, both the parliament and states legislation make laws on subjects given in the concurrent list, but the center has a supreme claim to legislate on concurrent list. In case of these things, we are all know. In case of conflict between the laws of the state and the union, laws on the subject in concurrent list, the law of the parliament prevails. This is a special prerogative or priority given to the parliament. And we have another, but it is not listed. In addition to that, 3 lists. If anything is left behind, any subject that is not found in the above 3 lists, not found in the central list, state list, and concurrent list, that is called residuary powers, or the residuary powers have been granted to the union. In many countries, in many parliamentary form of democracies, many countries, this is the residuary powers. In case of residuary powers, the situation is different. Contrary to the residuary powers have been granted to the union, contrary to the convention in other federations of the world. In other federations of the world, what happened, the residuary powers are given to the states. But in our country, residuary powers are lies with the union only. So we have, yes, I mentioned, as I mentioned in the previous, earlier, this in normal condition, if in ordinary or extraordinary conditions, or in extraordinary circumstances, the parliament can make laws even on the subjects in the state list. Though under the ordinary circumstances, the central government does not possess power to legislate on the subjects enumerated in the state list. In ordinary circumstances, central government or the parliament does not possess any power to legislate on the subjects enumerated in the state list. But under certain special conditions, the union parliament can make laws even on the subjects, enumerated in the states list. So I think I can discuss it in details in the this legislative role of the government. So here briefly we can see what are that extraordinary circumstances are is in the parliament can make laws on in the extraordinary circumstances in the national interest. If the Rajya Sabha declares by resolution supported by not less than 2/3 of its members, it's necessary to expertise in the national interest. The parliament can make laws on the state list, or under proclamation of national emergency, under proclamation of state emergency, or by the agreement between the states, or to implement the international treaties. Like in certain special conditions, the parliament can make laws on the state list even. So the actually the primary or basic duty of the parliament, the main duty of the parliament is to make laws or enact laws in subjects enumerated in the union list. This is in extraordinary conditions. It can make laws on concurrent list, residuary powers, and even in on the state list. So now let us see the constitutional. This is the situation. Now let us see the constitutional provisions. Article 79 to Article 122 of the Constitution deals with the parliament. According to the Article 79, there shall be a parliament for the union, which shall consist of the president and two houses to be known, two houses of the parliament. Parliament consists of president and two houses. That is, one is upper house or council of states or Rajya Sabha, or the law house of people. So Rajya Sabha is the upper house, represents the states and union territories of the Indian Union. And the lower house, another house is the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is the lower house of the parliament that represents the people of India as a whole. So the parliament consists of president, Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha. So now we can see the multifunctional role of the parliament peripherally or overall. You can please switch on to the next slide. And next slide, please. We have this Indian Parliament has extensive powers to perform a variety of functions towards the fulfillment of its constitutionally expected role. Its role can be discussed under the this as you see on the board and the slides, we can see the legislative role, executive role, financial role, constitutional role, and judiciary and electoral powers. So, to start with legislative functions, as it is the primary duty of the parliament is to legislate or to enact laws. Legislation is the primary duty of the parliament. We start with the legislative functions. Okay, the parliament legislates on all matters mentioned in the union list and the concurrent list. As I already discussed, the parliament can also pass laws on items in the state list under the following circumstances. I think these things I already discussed. The emergency is in operation, you know. You all might aware of the 356 article, that is President's rule in India. If an emergency is in operation or any state is placed under President's rule under 356 article, the Parliament can enact laws on items in the state list as well. And another situation, another extraordinary condition is, as per Article 249, the Parliament can make laws on items in the state list if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by 2/3 majority of its members, and if necessary for the Parliament to make laws on any items enumerated in the state list, if in the national interest. You need to register this word, in the national interest. And as per the 253, Article 253, it can pass laws on the state list if it is required for the implementation of international agreements or international treaties with foreign powers. Yeah, when it is involved, this foreign international agreements or treaties, this parliament can make laws in the state list. According to, and another important extraordinary condition is, according to the Article 252, if the legislatures of two or more states passes a resolution to the effect that it is desirable to have a parliamentary law on any item listed in the state list, the parliament can make laws for those states. Okay, this is the legislative powers of the, or the legislative role of the parliament. Executive functions. If we immediately after listening this executive functions, we remind that the control over the executive, as we discussed in the beginning, a parliamentary form of government is called representative government, or this executive. There are certain tools to control the executive, or executive is responsible to the parliament. So the executive functions is the very important aspect of the parliament role. In the parliamentary form of government, the executive is responsible to the legislature, Hence, the parliament exercises control over the executive by several means. How it controls, how it exercises its control over the executive, we can see a few examples. This is by a vote of no confidence motion, this is the most powerful tool in the hands of legislature to control the executive. Even if a no confidence motion is passed, the government is to quit the office, removed from the office, by the vote of no confidence motion, the parliament can remove the cabinet out of power. It can reject a budget proposal or any other bill brought by the cabinet. A motion of no confidence is passed to remove a government from office. And another important this thing, the MPs, the member of parliament, can ask questions to the ministers on their omissions and commissions. Any lapses on the part of the government can be exposed in the parliament. So this is and another tool to control, to exercise control on the executive by the legislature is this adjournment motion. Adjournment motion allowed only in the Lok Sabha. The chief objective of the adjournment motion is to draw the attention of the parliament to any recent issues of the urgent public interest. This is one of the powerful tools in the hands of the legislature. Why? Because after all, the parliament is to address the grievances, address the problems of the people, public. So it can draw the attention. This adjournment motion can draw the attention of the parliament to any recent issues of urgent public interest. In recent times, we have a tragedy, tragic stories in Manipur. If anybody that came into light only after the parliamentary discussions. Okay, so it is considered an extraordinary tool in parliament as the normal. If adjournment motion is moved, the normal business is affected. Okay. So and another important motions we have the cut motion. A cut motion is used to oppose any demand in the financial bill bought by the government. Or we have a censure motion. A censure motion is moved by the opposition party members in the House to strongly disapprove any policy of any policy of the government. It can be moved only in the Lok Sabha. Immediately after the censure motion is passed, the government has to seek the confidence of the House. Thus is the importance of the censure motion. Like in the case of the no confidence motion, the Council of Ministers need not resign if the censure motion is passed. But it needs to go for the no confidence of the House. It has to seek the confidence of if the censure motion is passed, it has to seek the confidence of the House. So again, we have in addition to these motions, in addition to these controls over the executive or government, we have the parliament, the parliamentary committees. The parliament appoints parliamentary committees to that sees whether promises made by the ministers to the parliament are fulfilled or not. Yes. That is for the scrutiny purpose, this Parliament appoints the committees of members. So this is one of the aspects, controls that these are all comes under the executive functions of the Parliament. Financial, well, coming to the financial role, Parliament is the ultimate authority when it comes to the finances. When it comes to the finances, Parliament is the ultimate authority. The executive cannot spend a single pie without the parliamentary approval. Without the approval of the Parliament, government cannot spend a single pie. Okay, no taxation be levied or collected, and no expenditure can be incurred by the executive except under the authority and with the approval of the Parliament. No, such an important position that our Indian Parliament has in. So we know every year the union budget prepared by the cabinet is placed before the Parliament for its approval. It also scrutinizes government spendings and financial performance with the help of the committees, financial committees. Yes, we have, we might have heard about this Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, and Committee on Public Undertakings. These committees helps the Parliament in scrutinizing the government spending. Okay, so even the budget, union budget, prepared by the cabinet is submitted to the approval of the Parliament. All proposal to impose taxes should also be approved by the Parliament. And in the financial powers only, we have this three committees. There are two standing committees, that is Public Accounts Committee and Estimates Committee of the Parliament, to keep a check on how the executive spends the money granted to it by the legislature. The executive ought to spend the money on the subject is granted, the legislature granted. It cannot deviate from the approvals. Okay, so you cannot deviate from the approvals of the Parliament. So we have that such importance in in the matters of finances, and also the important role of the Parliament is amending powers. The Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution of India, but in this regard, both the houses of the Parliament has the equal powers. The amendment bill can be introduced in a house of the Parliament. So amendments will have to be passed in both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. That is, we have some different types of the matters have the separate procedures or majorities. Some amendments take place with the simple majority or by special majority or with the consent of more than half of the states. So these three we can discuss now. Simple. The Parliament can amend Constitution in three ways: by simple majority, a majority of members present and voting in each house of the parliament. That is it can amend the constitution with simple majority. Can you name any can you remember any remind any simple majority complicated issue? Bifurcation of the state, you know. It is a simple method. Yes, by special majority. Yeah, by special majority. Bills need to be, in this case, bills need to be passed by the majority of the House and two-thirds of the members present and voting in each of the houses, you know. Two-thirds of majority, you know, one is simple majority and another one is two-thirds of majority and special majority plus consent of more than half of the states, you know. These type of bills must be passed by the special majority in each house. Besides that, at least half of the state legislatures should give consent to that bill. So this is about the role and this amending the constitution. So, and we have another role, another function is that election of its officers, electoral function. The parliament takes a part in the election of the president and vice president. The electoral college that elects the president comprises of, among others, the elected members of both the houses are there. The president can be removed by a resolution passed by the Rajya Sabha, agreed by the Lok Sabha. And we have this here, we have another judicial functions, you know. In case of breach of privilege by members of the House, the Parliament can punitive powers to punish them. A breach of privilege is when there is an infringement of any of the privileges enjoyed by the MPs. A privilege motion is moved by a member when he feels that a minister or any member has committed a breach of privilege of the House or more of its members by withholding facts of a case or by giving distorted facts. This is one of the important judicial functions in the parliamentary system.
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir. Sir, your voice is not audible. Sir?
Supplement include.
Yes, sir.
Include.
Okay, sir. Now proceed.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Sir?
yeah, no problem. I'm receiving some phone calls through. Since I am attending through mobile, when I receive any calls, it gets interrupted.
Okay, sir.
Sorry
Okay.
for the interruption. Okay.
Okay.
So the judicial functions of the parliament include the power to impeach the president, the vice president, the judges of the Supreme Court, high courts, auditor general, and so on. So, and I would like to brief about the other functions or other powers of the parliament. Issues of national and international importance are discussed in the parliament. And it ensures that the country is aware of alternate viewpoints. You know, it is a platform to discuss the issues of international and international issues. So, it can be, the parliament is sometimes talked as a nation in miniature, in a democracy, the parliament plays the vital role of deliberating matters of importance before laws or resolutions are passed. The parliament has power to alter, decrease, or increase the boundaries of any state. The parliament also functions as an organ of information. This is some of the important, other important Okay, sorry for the interruption. Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
audible.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, and even though it is an important in deliberations and making aware of the people about the national and international events. In recent times, it has such an important role as the largest democratic countries supreme organ of law making. But we have in recent days the decline in efficacy and the dubious practices of bills, and some are, issues are there, in fact, to discuss. The point of concern in working of parliament over the past few years. We can see the dubious practice of making bills as money bills, Why? Because, in present central government has majority in upper house, Rajya Sabha. So whenever they wanted to pass some bills, uh, as we all know, in money bills, regarding money bills, Rajya Sabha has no say. Only this Lok Sabha has the powers to approve the bills. So what they do is dubious practice. So they make bills as money bills. The finance bills over the last few years have contained several unconnected items, such as restructuring of tribunals, the introduction of electoral bonds, and amendments to the foreign contribution, etc. Act, etc. These acts bypasses the Rajya Sabha and passes of budget without discussions. During the sessions, what do you call it, budget sessions, when the budget is presented, discussed and passed, the constitution requires the Lok Sabha to approve the expenditure budget of each department and ministry. So, Parliament has to approve each department and each ministry separately. But in the last few years, in the budget session, they listed and discussed only few ministries are related to the few ministries or departments. 76% of the total budget was approved without any discussion. 76% of the budget is approved without any discussion. And we already discussed the about the committee's role, parliamentary committee's role. So the scene was not so bad even until the 1980s. You know, the craze was often a delight to watch, strict decorum, a discourse reasoned debate at premium. Today, the scene is a bit difficult. You know, members very often lose their self-discipline and restraint, and legislative violence has become a routine, has become routine. This legislative violence. So, in fact, what is the real importance? The role the parliament is expected to play is, in fact, certain parliamentary processes have been evolved in the course of time. Such methods, therefore, not only control but sustain the governments as well. We don't think that it has a role of controlling. Not only that, these methods, following the parliamentary procedures, decency and decorum, not only controls and it also sustains the government. As an uncontrolled government would be an unhealthy government, Without control, without parliamentary control, the government would be unhealthy government. So we have this. We already discussed some tools. Parliamentary control. So that is because to control this only, for to have the healthy government only, these question was adjournment, these question was adjournment motions, no confidence motions, calling attention notices, half an hour discussions, budget discussions, and control the parliamentary committees. This is all for nothing but to have a healthy government. All these are effective instruments for securing redress from administrative errors, discussing matters of urgent public importance. These procedures are laid down in Constitution. There are procedures are clearly laid down for what? For to discuss urgent public importance, but the present scenario is entirely diametrically opposite. It is entirely different. So not only that, not only the grabbing the attention of public interest, the members members also have that responsibility, not only as a whole parliament, individually the members of the parliament also have their own responsibility. Every member of the parliament represents the segment of the population comprising his constituency, He is representing nearly the 9 to 10 lakhs of the people of his constituency, Each MP in his individual capacity and parliament as a whole facilitate ventilation of people's grievances. What is the exact role of the parliament? What was the exact role of the parliament, members of the parliament? They should facilitate ventilation of people's grievances, spread out popular education, and most importantly, the integration of conflicting interests. It demands that legislation should keep the interest of the nation as a whole. What this parliament has to do? It has to keep the interest of the nation. Not only this, and another important aspect is it is here that the grievances of the public are ventilated, as I told you. A very wide range of views find expression here, and the parliamentarians shape the emerging legislations, act as a social investigator, and keep the public educated about the activities of the government. Yes, it is the responsibility of the parliament or a responsibility of the members of the parliament to keep educated about the activities of the government. This is the platform to educate the people about the government. So it is a parliament is a tool, or parliament is a platform for even social change. There is an impressive list of legislations to curb social evils, like even though there are some shortfalls, there is an impressive list of legislations to curb the social evils like child marriages, like dowry, laws relating to the welfare of women, laborers, welfare of scheduled castes, and welfare of scheduled tribes. Even though we can see the decline of the value. I have a small video for you how the parliamentarians are fighting for individual interests. Could you please play the video?
It was calm as politicians in India's largest state waited for the session to begin and a confidence vote to get underway. But soon after the meeting opened, tempers flared and trouble broke out. It started with shouting. Then the politicians exchanged blows, and not the verbal kind. The assembly became a battleground as politicians hurled microphones and chairs at each other. Some ran for cover, others fought on. Eventually, opposition parties walked out, accusing their rivals of starting the violence that left several politicians and the Speaker of the House injured.
І калічили їх. Той час вже позаду. Бойко з Льовочкиним їздять по московських обкомах, інструкції отримують у Кремлі. Інші їздять по брюссельських обкомах. Коли в село до людей поїдете? Коли до шахтарів на шахту? До металургів коли поїдете? А не їздите ЦУ отримуєте по закордонах. ЦУ треба отримувати від своїх, від українців. У мене, до речі, питання до СБУ. Чого вони їздять по Москвах і досі не в тюрмі? І чого досі не в тюрмі, скотина? Коли ці недобитки Януковича, які $500 Ти подивись, що робить.
А ну сядь на місце. Я перепрошую. Олег Валерійович, я зупиняю зараз ваш виступ.
Je suspends la séance. Je suspends la séance. La séance est suspendue. Je suspends la séance. La séance est suspendue.
Alors, c'est où?
Okay, please stop it. So these are the. May I continue, please?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay, okay. These are the sorry state of affairs, across the world, not only in India. It's, despite of the fact that Indian Parliament plays a crucial role as a deliberative and representative assembly, its image and influence have suffered a serious setback in recent years. It is an undisputed fact. It is, so, if a general survey is made of legislators throughout the world, in the present century, it becomes apparent, with a few exceptions, that they have suffered a perceptible decline. Perceptible decline. This decline in the values and values of the parliament. There has been steady decline in the even voting percentage, especially of the urban voters, because the parliamentary behavior and ethics of the parliament suffered a setback. There are defections, squabbles, ego confrontations, resignations, and coalitions. So it affected the voting behavior of the people, and so so I think we are running short of time. Anyhow, I would like to give you the declining value of the parliamentary system. The decline appears to be steady and most rapid, it is most rapid. Absolutely, its powers may be the same, but when compared to those of the executive, executive is taking over the or encroaching the powers of the parliament in Indian situation. So, I would like to conclude as we are running out of this thing. And another important concern is this without discussion, they are applying the guillotine. You might have political science students very much aware of this bulletin, and the promulgating the ordinances. And there were instances of promulgating 32 ordinances in a year. This is all the issues of concern. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that Parliament has a central role in our democracy as the representative body that checks the work of the government in order to fulfill its constitutional mandate. But it is important that Parliament functions. Parliament should function effectively. This will require making a following procedure. As I told you, the procedures are laid down to discuss the public, meet the public aims and aspirations of the public. Parliament is there to make laws for the interest of the people, but not for the law for law's sake. It is for the but it cannot encroach into the others' jurisdiction. It can. It has the power to enact laws, but within the sphere of the constitutional period, it has to be. It has to abide by the spirit of the constitution. Abide by the constitution. So. Providing sufficient time to the Parliament and following the procedures laid by the Constitution is the need of the hour. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and I think there won't be any question and answer session as I have to rush to somewhere else. So that I'd like to wind up this session.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for your outstanding presentation on the role of a parliament in India politics. Really, we are grateful to you, sir, for your availability to share your valuable thoughts and insights with us. Sir, you have emphasized the forms of government, division of powers, separation of powers, union government, and state government. And not only that, but also you have defined parliament and powers and functions in legislative powers and functions, executive, financial, constituent, judicial, electoral powers and functions in a respective way. Thank you, sir. Your presentation is very commendable and explored explored the points which you have mentioned in a lucid way, sir. Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, it's time for questionnaire. Please spare 5 minutes, sir.
But actually, I'm in an urgent meeting. Guests from the US. I need to attend them. Actually, I wanted to wind up this session at 4:15, but I requested them for another half an hour. Sorry for the inconvenience. I have to leave. Please, with due apologies.
Okay, sir.
Requested to wind up the session.
Okay, sir. We will proceed the last session of the day, expressing gratitude for the fruitful day, that is the vote of thanks. My heartfelt thanks to the corresponding principal speaker of the day, Dr. G. Veeraj Daru, and all the participants for your valuable participation on the fourth day of the webinar. I would like to wind up this day with a few announcements to the participants. Feedback form will be sent to your registered mail ID within 2 hours. All those who are attending the webinar and filling up the feedback every day will be receiving the e-certificate at the end of 1 week national webinar come FDP. So, once again, I thank you all for making today's webinar is very effective and successful. I hope to meet you all for the 5th day of the webinar tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. Meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.